Hello friends. Today we're talking again about habitats. Remember what a habitat is? A place where an animal finds what it needs to survive, like food, water, shelter, and air to breathe. So today, friends, we're going to look at shelters. We've already looked at food. Remember the bird beak activity? You did a fantastic job with that. Today we're looking at different kinds of shelters that animals need to survive. Now, why does an animal even need a shelter, you might wonder? I wonder that. I wonder a lot. Well, think about it. Animals need protection. Protection from cold temperatures, from rain, protection from predators. Animals need that, so the shelter provides that. Also, shelters give animals places to raise their young. So there's different purposes for shelters. We're going to explore now some of the shelters that animals use. And then later, you're going to see a special portable shelter that I like to use when I go camping. Stick around, folks. Let's look at animals and their shelters.
Most birds build some kind of nest to lay their eggs and raise their young for a shelter. Once the young fledge and leave the nests typically aren't used again that year, although some birds return. Check it out. Birds aren't the only ones that build nests.
Shelter up there. Have you seen these clumps of leaves that are stuck up in trees? Those are squirrel nests. The real name is called drays, D-R-E-Y. That looks like a squirrel dray. I'm gonna try to get closer. It's a shelter. That's a bundle of leaves and sticks put together just right so it makes a cozy shelter for a fox squirrel. They'll sleep in that dray, they'll have babies in that dray. They'll go there to escape predators. The dray is like a ball of leaves that they put together for their own shelter. That is so cool that squirrels can do that. That's a squirrel dray. Hey, look for them around your neighborhood. You might see balls of leaves up in the trees. Those are drays, squirrel drays. That is so awesome. Cool. Look at that squirrel dray. Squirrels have put those leaves up there and kind of weaved them together somehow, and they have a nice cozy nest where they can stay warm and protected from predators. I wonder what kind of predators would try to eat a squirrel. What do you think? Probably a mouse or shrew made this hole in the ground so it can pop up, get a seed, and go right back in its home. That's a cool shelter. It's a little burrow.
Many animals, including a couple of birds, will dig a burrow and use it for their shelter. You know the eastern chipmunk. They dig burrows and use them for shelters. Coyotes will dig a larger structure called a den and use that for a shelter. And the black bear will even stay in its den all winter long and sleep.
Wow, there are wild animal shelters everywhere. Check out these holes that have been made in these trees, probably by smaller birds like black-capped chickadees or tufted titmice. These holes in trees that are used as shelters are called cavities, kind of like the cavities that somebody might get in their teeth. Cavities are shelters for many different kinds of animals. Look at that.
Woodpeckers like this red-bellied will make holes in trees and use them as a shelter for a year. Other years, other animals will use the shelter.
Did you know that even the loose bark on dead trees like this can become shelter for insects, bats, and even a little bird called a brown creeper? They'll get up underneath this loose bark and they'll make their nest there or find food and shelter. Amazing.
Muskrats will build lodges out of mud and cattails out in lakes and ponds. But the award for the best built shelter for any mammal should go to the beaver. The beaver lodge is huge and it's made out of sticks and mud. Beavers will live in that shelter all year long, even through the winter.
Wow, pretty cool, all those different animal shelters. And they build them themselves. Amazing. Check this out. When humans go out camping or go somewhere and they need a shelter, what are they going to do? Humans have needs too. We need to stay warm. We don't need protection from predators, but we need to stay warm and we need to stay dry. Hey, check this out. In this backpack of science, I have the solution to the problem. Humans have needs, and to solve that need, we've got things called tents. Take a look. Because you're carrying this tent with you when you go backpacking or camping, it needs to be kind of small. Everything I need to stay protected from the weather is in this tent right here. Let's take a look at a tent as a shelter. So this tent is really a system of different parts. When I open it up, you're going to see that first, there's a footprint. Oh.
Here's the footprint that fits this tent. I'm going to put the stuff stack right over here in the backpack. Then I have the poles for the tent. I have the tent itself, and I've got a part called the rain fly. So it's really a system. It's many parts working together to get a job done. And the job is to provide shelter for me through the night. So I put all this over here. I've got the rain fly that's going to cover me and keep me waterproof, and I've got stakes to hold the tent down. Now I'm going to set it up. Watch how fast it goes.
It keeps the bottom of your tent dry. Now I'm going to lay the tent out on top of the footprint.
Now I'm actually attaching the poles to the tent itself. One here, to both the footprint.
Now I have the frame set up. Now I'm going to attach the tent to the frame.
This just takes it. This is so easy now. Pretty soon I'll have a portable shelter.
How do you like it? You think this is going to keep me dry? Wait a minute. I still need to put on the rain fly, because if it gets wet tonight and rains, I want to stay dry. Rain fly. Hey, it's looking better, isn't it? Now it's waterproof. Now I'm going to put my stakes in to hold the tent down and pull out the rain fly to give me a little more space. Then I'm going to lay in my sleeping bag and stay warm. Watch. I got it all set up. Now I'm going to crawl into my sleeping bag and get nice and toasty warm. If it rains tonight or it's a little windy, I won't even feel it. My tent is a shelter, a portable shelter. I'm going to get inside. So nice in here. Hey friends, it's been fun looking at portable shelters with you. Good night. Shh. Shh. Oh, time to get up. Got to finish the video. Now for your assignment. Let's see if you can build a shelter out of natural materials, like a wild animal. Tents are portable shelters that people have designed and built. They've gotten better and better through the years. Hello, first grade friends. Now it's your turn. I know you can't manufacture a tent. Boy, those geese are pretty loud. I love nature's music this time of the year. Hey friends, I found a stuffed animal that a friend gave me a long time ago. It's actually a stuffed animal called a lynx. It's kind of a relative of a bobcat. But when I put the lynx against the tree, it's not protected. It's not protected from predators seeing it, and it's not protected from the weather. So, can you use natural materials like sticks and waterproof leaves to build a shelter around a stuffed animal or a figure? Do you have a favorite little doll or a stuffed animal or a little animal figure that you could protect with a homemade shelter? Remember, a shelter is going to protect the animal so a predator couldn't see it if it was flying over, like a hawk or an eagle or an owl. Also, a shelter should protect it from the wind in cold weather. A shelter also should be waterproof. So, using sticks and leaves, could you build a shelter around your animal? I'm going to get started right here. I'm putting some sticks around. I don't want the sticks to touch the animal. I want the animal to be comfortable in the shelter, but I'm going to build a shelter around the animal using natural materials. I'm getting some nice strong sticks. I don't want a shelter that's too weak. I want my animal to have a door to go in and out of. So now I'm starting to build the frame of the shelter first. I'm going to build a frame, then I'll add on the leaves. Shh, I think my animal's falling asleep. The shelter is so good that it's keeping it warm, and it's starting to feel very secure and safe in its shelter. I still need to add leaves, but my frame is pretty much done. Hey friends, if you don't have a place to do this at home, don't worry about it. You could sketch your shelter on a piece of paper and take a picture of it and show me. Sketch what you would build if you did have sticks and leaves to use. If you do have sticks and leaves, remember, leaves are waterproof. Leaves are a good covering to cover up the shelter now and cover the frame. So if it rains or if it's windy, the animal will be protected. So I'm going to now put the leaves on, and I'm going to put them on so that they won't fall off if it's very windy. Look at all these leaves. They're waterproof. They make a good covering, kind of like the rain fly on a tent. So now I'm going to add the leaves to my shelter, and we'll see what it looks like when it's all done. Hey, this is kind of fun, building a shelter. Hey friends, now my shelter's pretty much done. But before I leave it, I want to put some sticks over the leaves. In case it gets windy, I don't want those leaves to blow off. So I'm going to put some sticks over the top of the leaves now to hold those leaves in place. Okay, yeah, that's going to do it. That's the ticket. So now if a windstorm comes up tonight, the leaves will stay on. The sticks will hold them in place. This is a pretty good shelter. Are you ready for the final touch? The final touch is going to be this big leaf. It's a burdock leaf. And I know it has holes in it, but this could be the door. Look, if we cover the door up, now predators will not be able to see my lynx inside the shelter. If a hawk comes flying over or an eagle, they won't see the animal inside. It's protecting the animal. This is a nice shelter for my little friend, the lynx. And it can still get in and out the door too. Friends, I can't wait to see the shelter you're going to build out of natural materials. Sticks, leaves, maybe even some bark if you have it. If you can't do this, sketch a shelter you would build with natural materials, friends. And remember, it should protect the animal from being seen by predators, from rain, and from wind. I wonder if I blow really hard if the leaves will come off. Oh, they didn't come off. That's a pretty good shelter. Hey friends, when you build your shelter, take a picture of it with your computer and post it on the Seesaw page. I can't wait to see your shelters and the little animals inside too. Have fun. Oh, look at the little animal in the shelter. Here, I'll close your door back up. Peekaboo.